Hey, shalom, shalom, manak nawahai, bar shala, walakim la thumb, call shabawai bar ha, wakak shaya bashmel shah. Hey, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmel Shah to preach to you so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Chum atam kaya hamalakwa tashamayim korah, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call layim la, Yahweh Bashmel Shah, Basham Cha HaKodash. Wamashina kabadim to claim nawa. Wamalakam show yashla zukoyim chagada wall. Wachasa washalamam. Wabrakim la bachay shakor shalamam. So all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists. By Hashem, in the name Yahweh Shai delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. So this is an article on RT. It reads, U.S. spending too much on Ukraine, quarter of Americans say. With Republicans soaring on Washington's blank check for Kyiv, fewer respondents to a Pew poll now think it should be given even more. A growing number of Americans believe that the U.S. is spending too much aid to Ukraine, with more than a quarter now saying that the administration of President J.B. is being too generous, according to a new Pew Research poll. Some still believe that Washington should increase its military and economic aid, but the numbers have halved over the last year. Published on Tuesday, the poll found that 26% of Americans now say that the U.S. is giving too much aid, up from just 7% last March, while 20% of respondents say that the U.S. should give more, and 31% say the amount is about right. The findings show a dramatic change since March of last year, when 42% told Pew that they felt the U.S. wasn't doing enough for Ukraine. In the months since that first poll, the U.S. substantially increased its assistance to Kyiv and has now allocated more than $110 billion in military and economic aid doled out in successive packages. Washington's efforts to bankroll Ukraine's military has seen anti-air systems, armored vehicles, and more than 1 million artillery shells delivered to the country, with B pledging to keep the arms flowing for as long as it takes. Biden pledging to keep the arms flowing for as long as it takes. All right, that's going to pump out more and more money. All right, it says the bulk of this aid has been funded, and just to think about that, like if you took like your standard like what you call them, 7.62 round, and your standard 5.56 round, you see, they not inexpensive. If I'm not mistaken, they costing like $2 a round. And being that a couple years ago, the cost of rounds actually skyrocketed, and this is for small arms fire. So what about artillery rounds? You got something called like a 777, and you also have like the smaller artillery rounds. All right, the 777 is pretty big. Like if you used to measure it up to a person, it'll probably be about 5 feet, 5 feet tall. Which that doesn't include the projectile. Well, that includes the projectile, which breaks off from the bottom portion of it, but still, it's a big projectile. So being that it calls for small arms fire is like $2 a round, how much is these going to cost? It says the bulk of this aid has been funded by two mammoth spending bills passed by Congress at $40 billion bill passed. A $40 billion bill passed. Passed in May, and $1.7 trillion government spending bill in December that included another $47 billion for Ukraine. While Republican leadership supported these bills, a small number of GOP lawmakers close to the former president Trump condemned Biden and his Democratic colleagues for spending so much on a foreign conflict, arguing that the money would be better spent shoring up the American economy and tightening border security. It says Republican voters are more likely to oppose aid to Ukraine, with 40% saying that the U.S. is giving too much and 17% calling for more. Only 15% of Democrats think Biden should reduce U.S. aid, while 23% think the cash flow to Ukraine should increase. All right. And main reason people want to support, the Ukraine is because they put it into the mainstream media. People don't really go into, articles and doing research and stuff like that. But I want to talk about this part where it says arguing that the money would be better spent, or it says his Democrat colleagues for spending so much on a foreign conflict, arguing that the money would be better spent shoring up the American economy and tightening up border security. All right, which, and by no means do we support or show any type of bias to any political side or anything. We're pro-prophecy. All right, but this showcases Esau Edom's mentality. All right, so let's get some precepts. This is Habakkuk, also Habakkuk, chapter 2. Habakkuk chapter 2. In verse 5 it says, "Yet also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." All right. And this man can't keep at home. He's into affairs that's not theirs. They should be involved in their own domestic affairs. All right. When you look at, if I'm not mistaken, President George Washington, he said, basically, stay out of, international affairs, deal with what's here, and being that this country, they uphold guys like that, that you would think that they'll follow some type of morality or something like that, but that's not the case, you see. So the scriptures paint this man down to a T because that's what he does. He's always in somebody else's affairs. All right, let's get another precept. This is Psalms chapter 32 or 37. Verse 32. What's the lot? Give me a second. This is Psalms, also Tehillim 37 and 35. It says, "I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree." All right, that's essentially what the wicked does. You see, in this particular instance, that's what Babylon's doing. That's one reason how they did, or in this applying it to this time period. Rome went down back centuries ago. But that's the same thing that Esau Edom is doing now. He's spreading himself thin. All right, which at this moment he can do that. But it's wearing his supplies and everything short. Because going back to this article, it said arguing that the money will be, it says, and his Democrat colleagues for spending so much money on a foreign conflict, arguing that the money would be better spent shoring up the American economy and tightening border security. You see, because this place is still open, man. They like to boast themselves about how they got this basically missile defense systems and stuff like that. Which they do got certain missile defense type systems, but they don't have anything to combat, what's coming to this place. But it says better spent shoring up the American economy, which it would, because this place is in debt. All right, let's get another precept. This is This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe, destruction to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you go into this word clay, it says, Ibatyat, which is heavy debts. All right. So being that they're heavy in debt, you would think that they would use that money for paying off their debts. You see, but they're into other things. That's not their focus. So that's further adding to the implosion and the destruction of Babylon, because they can no longer fund themselves. All right. All right, read this latter part just one more time. It says, and his Democrat colleagues for spending so much on a foreign conflict, arguing that the money would be better spent shoring up the American economy and tightening border security. All right. And again, since they're spreading themselves so thin, the same thing's going to happen like how it did in Rome. All right. This is Quahalat, also Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. All right. And basically the same thing that happened in Rome is going to be the same thing that happens to America, Babylon the Great. You see, this is Rome 2.0. All right. So that's what America has to look forward to, is going down just like Rome, but in a greater fashion. All right. You see, so Lord's will is edifying. Call her light Allah. Yahweh Bashim, Yahushua Bashim, Kakodash. Hey, the bonus said that was the apostle great must on told me the truth and rule well. Much respect to you brothers out there pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.